Good morning, Mrs. Gates. It's really nice to see you again. Thanks for meeting with me. I wanted to ask, how you've been doing and if you have any updates for me on things that have been happening.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I got on some new medication though,
Oh, good.
for my anxiety and depression, so that's been going pretty good, I guess.
Yeah?
Yeah, and then yeah, that's
Nice.
pretty much, yeah.
Do you feel like it's been helping um, with your need or desire to smoke marijuana?
I feel like I can't really do that anyway because I'm at the shelter, so I feel like the medication is helping with that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's good to hear. Would you say on a scale from 1 to 10, how much has it helped your overall feelings and emotions?
Well, I've only been taking it for like a week or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say maybe like a 7 or 8.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a significant improvement.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very glad to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. All right. Any other updates?
Yeah, there is one other thing. Like Lucas has been calling me recently.
Mm.
And I haven't really like picked up the phone because I don't really want to talk to him. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How has it in general made you feel that he's been calling?
I just feel like, I don't know, like it makes me a little bit scared, I guess, that he's now like reaching out.
Mm.
And like I don't really want him to know where we are. And yeah, so I feel like he's really mad too. So.
Well, I can guarantee that the shelter has been set up in a way that keeps you safe and he shouldn't ever find out where you are. But that's definitely a feeling that's validated because there's been a lot of emotional trauma in a sense that's very much connected to him.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry that's been happening. Would you say there's anything that I can do as your social worker that would help with that situation?
I don't think so. Just
Okay.
yeah, I just don't really want him to call anymore, but he probably will. So I don't know. Probably just ignore it, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me know if there is, or if you think of anything that I can help with. I also was gonna ask, any updates on your physical examination?
Yeah, they actually confirmed that I had a concussion.
Okay.
But other than that, there's like no major issues, which is good, I guess.
That is good.
Yeah.
No other major issues. And your symptoms for the concussion, have they continued to be the same, or have they gotten worse or better?
Just about the same. I just have like major headaches throughout the day, but
okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like also a side effect from the medication. I don't know.
Did they give you any other medication for the concussion?
No, they haven't.
No? Okay. If you feel like the symptoms of your concussion are getting worse, we can look into something like that too.
Yeah.
That's helpful. Okay. And you're still living at the shelter, correct?
Yeah.
All right.
I also like joined the therapy group that they offer too, so.
Good. That's wonderful. How has that been going?
It's good, I guess. Just talking. Well, I don't really talk very much, but.
That's okay.
Yeah, but just starting out, I guess it's good. Yeah, I get to meet new people, which is kind of good.
That is really good.
Yeah.
It's definitely something I would encourage.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. And what about Sam, your son? Has he been doing well, or with all of these changes, it must be overwhelming for him?
Yeah, he's doing pretty good, but I've realized that he's actually getting a lot more like shy and reserved. Like he used to be a really happy kid, but now he's just kind of, maybe because we're in a new place, it's not really familiar to him, but yeah, I don't really know. He's just been like really shy and reserved, but he has this one friend in the shelter that
good.
He's been playing with. So.
I was going to ask if there's many other kids in the shelter.
Yeah, he just has one that he kind of hangs out with, but I guess that's good. Then he has a friend, so. Yeah. But he's still like shy and reserved. He used to be a really talkative kid, so. Yeah, it's kind of scary.
I'm really sorry to hear that. Well, definitely keep me updated on Sam and how he's doing. And even if there's some time that it'd be helpful for me to talk to him, and we can just figure out what's going on in his head.
Okay.
We can try that too if you think that would be helpful.
Okay.
So is there any other updates before I move on?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, wonderful. I have, for today's agenda, we're just doing, it's called a treatment plan. So basically it's a plan that you and I will go through and figure out together of specific objectives and then tasks that will have you do to reach the goals and the overall goal that you're trying to achieve. Okay. And then we're also going to outline some tasks for me in the best way that I can help you achieve those.
Okay.
So I have a paperwork here. As you can see, it is your individualized case plan, and it has like a place to put like your goals, objectives, and tasks. So we're going to fill this out today. I'm going to write your name, Miss Sophia Gates, your case number. Today's date is 10/9/22, and your name again, and then my name. Okay. And what would you say in your own words is your main goal for our services, and what you would like help with to achieve?
I think honestly being able to just like get out of the shelter and like live independently, I guess.
Yeah.
And be able to like support my son in that too. And also not have like Lucas like interfere with that, I guess. So
yeah, maybe we can say Mrs. Gates will provide for herself and her child independently in a way that is healthy and secure. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so we'll make that your main goal. And then as we move into objectives, these objectives will help achieve your main goal.
Okay.
And one thing you had mentioned, or actually first, one thing that we've been addressing is some of the issues with your mental health, with the feelings of depression and anxiety. And so I think a good objective would be that you consistently demonstrate a stability in mental health.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that sound good? Does that sound like something that you desire to have? Okay. I'll write that down. Consistently demonstrate stability in mental health. And then under the objectives, we have different tasks that will help achieve the objective. So for example, a task that would help achieve a stability in mental health would be continuing to take your medication that you've been given. So I'm going to write, Mrs. Gates will continue to take her medication. And then I'm going to say through January 3rd, 2023. And I'm writing down this date because this is the date that we'll come back and evaluate how this plan has been working for you.
Okay. Yeah.
And so that's the date we're going to have you take the medication through.
Okay.
And hopefully further after that date, but for the sake of this plan. And then another objective, would you be willing to see a therapist weekly just to talk about your overall mental health and how things are going?
Yeah. Would my like group therapy at the shelter be, or would I probably do like an individualized therapy session?
Yeah, I would suggest an individualized session, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
If not, we could try and figure something out with the group plan too.
Yeah.
It might just be a little bit more helpful if you have
think
someone.
Maybe
All right, let's do that. Mrs. Gates will see a therapist, I'm going to say weekly, through, and then the same date, January 3rd. All right. And then another one I was going to put is, if you're willing to see the therapist, another task can be that you will follow the recommendations given by your therapist.
Okay.
Through January 3rd. Does that sound okay with you?
Yeah.
All right, we'll make that a task. And task 4. I know one way that is helpful, and researchers say, with helping with mental health is just practicing a healthy lifestyle, whether that's eating or exercising or sleeping well even.
Okay.
Do you think that would be a helpful task for you?
Yeah. My sleeping hasn't been very good recently, so maybe just working with that. Yeah.
Working with sleep. Good. I'll say Mrs. Gates will practice healthy living habits such as sleeping and eating well. Good. And then through January 3rd. And then one other thing that can be helpful with mental health is just finding an activity that helps you let go of stress or any anxiety.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you have an idea in mind of what that activity would be, but if not, I think it would be a good idea to explore what some of those activities could be.
Yeah.
Does that sound like a good task? Okay, I'll set you up with that too. I'll say we'll have you do that through January 3rd as well. All right, and then at the end here it shows what my task will be and what my goal will be in helping you with this objective. So I'm going to put that I will help Mrs. Gates find a good and consistent therapist, and we'll check in on her weekly through January 1st.
Okay.
Does that sound good with you? Is there anything else that you would like to add or take away from this? Anything else that you would like me to do in this process that would help you?
No, I think that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. On to our second objective. So in some of our conversations, I've realized, and we've talked a little bit about some of the people you're close to or the support system that you have. Would you describe your support system as good, or one that you can rely on, or one that you have accessible to you?
Yeah, I feel like, a little bit, but it could probably be better.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I know that you expressed in our one discussion that you have a little bit of a rocky relationship with your parents and now with Lucas.
Yeah.
And I think a possible objective that would be helpful is finding you a good and accessible support system.
Okay.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
All right. Mrs. Gates will develop an accessible support system. All right. So the tasks under this, your first task, would you be willing to reach out to your mom and dad in hopes to restore that relationship?
I mean, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't really talked to them in a while, so that might be kind of
a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Maybe.
I think it will be difficult. But if you're willing, I think it would be a really great option as well. Your mom and dad, as being your parents, I know they probably care a lot for you.
Yeah.
And if you feel a confidence in that, then I would say it would be a really great option.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'll be willing to walk alongside you through that entire process of just like, if it's helpful for me to sit down with you when you talk with them.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll say Mrs. Gates will reach out to her mother and father with hopes to restore her relationship with them. And I'm going to say, today's the 9th, I'm going to give you till the 15th to just make initial contact with them.
Okay.
And then as a second task and kind of as a follow-up to that, would you be willing then to just sit down with them and actually have like a conversation about just some of the things that went wrong in your relationship with them, and kind of having a conversation of conflict resolution with them?
I mean, yeah, if they're willing to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll write this down as one of the tasks, but if they're obviously not willing to, or if something changes, that's okay too.
Okay.
We'll figure that out as we go. So I'm going to say Mrs. Gates will practice conflict resolution and communicate clearly with her parents about how she was hurt. Does that sound good? Okay. Now, I gave you till 10:15 to make initial contact. I'll give you to like 10:30 to maybe sit down with them. And again, I am willing to be there if that's helpful. If it's not helpful, I don't have to be there. But you can let me know how you feel about it.
Okay.
Because I know that will be difficult. All right. And as your third task, you said that you were a part of the domestic violence shelters group therapy session, which is incredible. I think we should keep that going. So I'm going to put that you will continue participating with group therapy at the domestic violence shelter. We'll just say through the 3rd again.
Okay.
As your fourth task, I think it would be helpful outside of the domestic violence shelter to become a part of some sort of community group, whether that's an activity that you enjoy doing, or if it's with a church group. Would you be willing to explore that? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm going to put Mrs. Gates will become a part of a community group. And I'll put through the 3rd. All right. And then one last thing, in creating a support system, it's very important to just have a few people that are point people, go-to people that you can always rely on and be vulnerable with.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if you have those people already, but if not, I think it would be really helpful to identify a couple of those people. And then as the task here would outline is just being willing to pursue and invest in a deeper relationship with those people.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, that does.
Okay. So Ms. Gates will choose a few reliable people, and she will be intentional to invest in a deeper relationship with them. I'll put that to the 3rd. All right, and as your social worker, I will provide moral support in difficult discussions that you might have with your parents or anybody else.
Okay.
And we'll continue to check in on some of the progress that you make in those areas. All right, on to our 3rd objective. One of the things in becoming independent and being able to provide for you and your son will include getting a job. And so we can help you find a job locally. Does that sound like a good objective? Okay. Then I'll put Mrs. Gates will find a stable job that is able to fully provide the income she needs for her and her son to live a healthy lifestyle. How does that sound? Good?
Yeah,
okay.
Good.
And then a task for that. One thing you will have to think about is while you're at work, Sam, your son will need childcare.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very important and essential task to find childcare for Sam.
Okay.
So I'm going to write that Mrs. Gates will find safe and affordable childcare for Sam while she is at work.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it's probably best to have and find a plan for this by 10:30.
Okay.
So that you can continue moving forward with the job process. we'll also have you created a resume before?
No.
No? Okay. We're going to have you create a resume, and this will be a document that you're able to submit when you're applying for a job that you're interested in. It kind of outlines some of your past job experiences, or some of the things that you're good at. So we'll do that, and we can do that together as well. If that's something you would like or need help with. And as a third task, we'll have you submit applications for jobs that you're interested in, which will be an easier one to do.
Okay.
And we'll even look into different jobs that you would be interested in. We can research that together. And then after that, we will have you follow the hiring process. And I think I'm going to write here in a way that shows responsibility, a desire for the job, and a hard work ethic. Because these are all things that an employer will look for as they're interviewing you.
Okay.
And it'll be really helpful when getting you the job.
Okay.
We can definitely talk through that as well. And as our last task, I know you had a car that you took from Lucas's house when you left.
Yeah.
And I know that car was shared between the two of you. And so part of it probably still belongs to him. If the whole car doesn't belong to him, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But for a job, we'd need to find a reliable and consistent source of transportation.
Okay.
So I don't know if you would still have that that car in the future.
Yeah, I don't know. Just with insurance paying for that right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's gonna take me off of it, or I don't really know. So.
All right, then we're gonna put that as a task to confirm reliable source of transportation, and we'll figure that out together.
Okay.
What that will look like.
Okay.
I'm going to put that through 10/20 so that we have that figured out before we have you going in for some interviews. All right. And I'm going to put that I, as your social worker, will help Mrs. Gates understand the hiring process and follow it to completion. Okay. Wonderful. All right, and as a fourth objective in living independently, we'll have to find an apartment for you and Sam.
Okay.
So is it okay if I put that Mrs. Gates will find an affordable and safe apartment for her and her son? Okay, wonderful. As a first task for that, I'm going to say it would probably be helpful if you were to meet with a financial advisor just to figure out some of your finances and what we can look at in terms of apartments and the pricing of that. And it would be helpful to probably figure out and lay out where your finances are at for that, so we can know that it's suitable for you and affordable. So I'm going to say Mrs. Gates will meet with a financial advisor to determine what apartments will be most affordable. And I'm going to say we'll do that by 10:15.
Okay.
So we'll do that sooner than later. And then we can also, together, we can research and tour some apartments and see what you like and what you don't like.
Okay.
We'll do that by 10:20. All right, third task. We'll have you, after picking one that you like, we'll have you submit an application to the apartment of interest. So I'm going to write that as a task. We'll have that done by 10:25.
Okay.
And some of these dates are goals, but they may vary just based on circumstances. So we'll keep that in mind. And then when accepted, we'll have, there are certain forms that you'll need to fill out to give the person who's renting you the apartment.
Okay.
There's certain forms that we'll have you fill out, and if you have those filled out, or if you don't, we can work on that together, and we can just work on compiling those forms to have ready for them. So I'm going to write, when accepted, Mrs. Gates will have prepared all needed and requested forms by 10:25.
Okay.
We'll have that ready. Okay. And then the last task for this objective is, I think it would be helpful that once you have the apartment and once you're settled in, it'll be really good in maintaining a safe and clean environment for Sam, that this task you'll just commit to regularly clean your apartment and keep it free of safety hazards for Sam.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Gates will regularly clean her apartment and keep it free of safety hazards through January 3rd, 2023. And as your social worker, I will help Mrs. Gates understand the process to buy an apartment and follow it to completion through the 3rd. All right, we're almost done. Thanks for hanging with me. I know this is a long process. But our last thing here is just some comments about our plan. I'm just going to put that Mrs. Gates will use the plan for reminders for dates to complete tasks by. And me as your social worker will review the plan and progress on our regular visits. So whenever we meet up again, we'll just go through, and this will help us outline what we both committed to and if those tasks were completed and done or if they weren't or not, and we can move on from there. So I'm just gonna, could I have you sign this here for me, that you helped make this plan? Wonderful. And I'm gonna date it here for you. 10/9/22, and then I'm gonna sign it and date it one more time. Okay.